Babe.
Hi.
Why hasn't anyone ever said Megalopolis? You know, because the movie Megalopolis.
Yes.
If you put dicks at the end,
Yeah,
you could call it Megalopolis, and it kind of sounds similar.
that's true.
Did you notice that?
You know what? It
Yeah.
is coming to me now.
Yeah, because I haven't said that ever before today. I just came up with that joke. I haven't been saying it for like 2 weeks.
For the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't listen to you.
That's true. That's very true.
So that is a fact for me. We have... Oh.
Mega cock on lips?
Okay. You're stepping on all my material for today.
What was the one you sent me? Mega dick?
No. We'll save it for later.
Excuse me. All right.
It's critical
Sorry.
information. But we have just stepped out of the theater having watched.
Yeah, we're in the theater still.
Actually,
we're literally in the seats, and we told them to delay the next showing of Beetlejuice so that we could record a podcast on the critical and commercial failure that is in Megalopolis.
Man.
Critical failure, not so much, but commercial apparently it's mega flopping hard.
Hey.
It's mega flopping.
Got the James rolling hard. As you know, we've been doing, no drink month. Like we're trying to,
I always like to say I'm trying because that
trying.
means when I fail, which I have,
Yeah.
I can be like, I was only trying.
And also, when we do, quote unquote, fail at drinking, we're doing it with friends. We're having a couple beers.
Is it really a failure or is it a success of friendship?
It is a true, yes.
Yeah.
In that we have won.
Friend.
But today at the cinemas, what an extraordinary reason to just abolish my sobriety. And to further burden my resolve, I couldn't get popcorn either.
Yeah,
or
the
a
person
beverage.
forgot your order.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? It's fine. I don't need the distraction. What a fool I was.
How foolish of you.
What a dumb thing for me to do to raw dog this film.
Yeah.
Sans beverage.
You went in raw dog. No beverage, no popcorn, nothing. I'm a chronic film raw dogger, so I was fine. I'm used to the raw dogging of the movie theater experience, but to yourself.
To one such as I, Megalopolis.
Yeah.
I think I blacked out for 10 minutes from disbelief. Dear audience, for those who haven't seen it, you got to walk into this movie just the same way as Coppola did. High out of your fucking mind. You should not be sober for this one. It'll only hurt more. If I wanted out of the theater multiple times.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the light.
Interesting.
Look, this movie is so self-confident in the way.
That's definitely a term you could use for
It's so like fucking so high self-esteem in itself in a way that only a narcissistic billionaire would be, or Adam Driver playing Ferrari guy would be.
He had Ferrari energy in this, I thought.
Ferrari so energy. Adam Driver is Coppola, or I feel like he is meant to be.
I think there's shades of that.
The utopian future that this man wanted in the world.
Can I say there is? I did think at some points like there is shades of being like when it's a movie by such a legendary director where you're just kind of like, are you in the Adam Driver seat a little? And is that also why you're a womanizer who can hook up with any beautiful woman he so desires? But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to not see when you hear the story of Megalopolis' creation, which has been on Coppola's mind forever, as we covered in our Godfather episode.
Yes.
Like, it's hard to not be like, are you kind of self-inserting yourself?
Oh my God. And it's like, I find myself forced to respect it almost because it's like, do you not talk to yourself or others? He did this movie.
He talks to Sophia.
He just him and his daughter. He's like, listen, we're doing this, and she's like, I cannot say anything
I'm
against
busy
it.
filming another film. Probably.
I'm doing good cinema, Father, but you can continue on this path you have laid out for yourself for the past 40 years.
Did you hate this movie?
Look, I will watch it if it's on TV.
So here's the thing. I loved it. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't love it. I texted a friend. I was like,
in the cinemas?
No. Just after telling him that I had seen it, and I did say, I was like, it won't be like any other movie you see this year. That's probably for sure.
Is that a compliment though?
Well, exactly. I don't know if it is. This movie, I really it was better than I thought it would be. But really? I had very low expectations.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be really not good. And I was kind of worried that I was like, this movie is like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I think it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was bad, but I also didn't think it was very good. But there's greatness within it, but also a lot of shitty bits to it. And my experience of watching it was it went in an arc of like the first 15 minutes was like, oh my God, my worst fears are coming true. This is going to be awful. And then in the middle, it kind of peaked into being like, all right, this is better. This is getting better. This is getting better. And then the latter half hour or so, I was like, I have completely lost the plot on what is going on here. It's it's completely incoherent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that what you've described is classic Stockholm Syndrome.
A little, yeah. Like I was like, I'm trapped. I might as well try to enjoy myself.
And you want to encourage yourself to not fall asleep or have a fit of rage.
I was like, I'm trapped raw dog in this thing. I might as well try to enjoy my time.
You couldn't even enjoy the sounds of me chewing popcorn because there's none.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing. Yeah.
And look, it's this fucking movie, man. I did not read anything about it.
Me neither.
I didn't know what to expect.
No, I haven't read anything since it came out.
Yeah.
Which would have been for when we're recording this, it's Monday. It would have come out on Friday. You'll hear this a couple weeks after it's come out, but like,
yeah.
I didn't hear. I read stuff leading up to its release, but I didn't read anything about
before
it since it's come out.
Totally, like before walking into the theaters, couldn't have known what to expect. But now I can say with certainty and confidence that this is basically The Great Gatsby meets Spy Kids 3D.
Yeah, little. Yeah.
I have no other way of describing like the grand vision he had for the golden extravaganza of everything of a futuristic society.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it fucking not? It's so
I have no
strange.
idea what this movie is about.
We are not going to talk plot. I don't think
the plot is incomprehensible.
Yeah,
it's like the movie itself on like a scene to scene basis is it's muddled. It's visually muddled. It's editorially muddled. The writing is muddled. And the plot is muddled. And that's being kind to a lot of those things.
It's so funny you said that because when I was watching it, I thought every other minute it felt like they accidentally deleted a scene. And then just continued to carry on from wherever the fuck they left off. For some reason, a lot is left on like 3 or 4 very big shoulders to carry this movie. And thankfully, Adam Driver is in most of the scenes.
Yes, but unfortunately, the other shoulder, I don't think she's very good.
No, which is a shocking thing to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mishandi or whatever.
Yeah,
what's her
Emmanuel
name?
something. She's Missandei on Game of Thrones.
Natalie Emmanuel. A good actress. I don't think she's very good in this movie.
A good side actor, right?
Yeah, and she is. She's basically the co-lead of this film.
Yeah.
And I think she's asked to do a lot that she's not doing a great at, unfortunately. However, can I enlighten you a bit about the production of this film and what might lead to some of the answers that we're seeking about what happened?
Yeah.
Lifting off from where we left in The Godfather 3, Francis Ford Coppola makes a fortune in wine, right? He sells an interest in his winery to like a kind of like he merges with another company and he ends up making $650 million off of that sale. Mm-hmm. $120 million of which he puts into production of Megalopolis, basically. I mean, whatever, right? He's fucking, he's still got $480 million left over.
20 years.
That's about $480 million more dollars than I have. So
Joke's on you,
Francis
you
Ford, don't take it too hard. But, during the production, and I didn't go deep on this. We're not going to go deep on this, but from what I read from Wikipedia was that the production was very erratic, and Coppola, the way he went about making this film was very erratic in that people claimed, and this is all alleged, so I don't want to say any of this is true, but this is all alleged that it was like they would set up shots for the day and then Coppola wouldn't come out and shoot the shots and then would have a completely other idea and then would he would come out of his trailer and be like, this is what we should do, and then everyone's like, all right, I guess we'll set up everything new again, which is the biggest part of the filmmaking process, is setting up your shot, right? That takes time and it takes effort and it takes detail work that is hard to do. But Francis Ford Coppola, legendary filmmaker. So apparently this was a big thing on this movie, was that like sometimes people would just be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now. That kind of makes sense, right? You think of
neither does the audience.
Think of a film as a company that runs on itself. And I mean, I've worked at some companies where I'd go into work and be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And people are like, I don't know what you're supposed to do either.
Hey, good.
But can you do some work? And I'd be like, all right, I'll pretend I'm working. Another thing that I think is notable, and again, alleged, and maybe I'm psychoanalyzing the film a little bit here, he fired his visual effects team in its entirety about midway through production.
Stop,
yes.
dude.
And he hired a new visual effects supervisor and team to work on it.
Oh my
God.
God.
But apparently the communication between them wasn't totally working. And Coppola was going ahead with his own kind of vision without taking into account the visual effects team's input. Which is tough, right?
So this whole movie is fully CGI, no?
It's very CGI, and I will say that I think a lot of it is quite beautiful and interesting. I think it's dreamlike in a way, but the experience of watching it is like
a nightmare.
It's like when you're at a party talking to someone who's really into psychedelics. And you're just like, I don't want to hear about your fucking mushroom trip at all.
Oh my God.
But they're like, yeah, but I could talk for 3-4 hours at you about it if you want. And it is like that sort of.
It reminded me of when like someone at your job is like, hey, I want to show you a YouTube video. And then it's this, but it's endless. It's going to happen in a minute. And they assure you that something interesting is coming. Oh my God.
What's the longest YouTube video length that you could put up with someone else showing you on their phone?
I think 3.5 minutes. I'm very patient.
That's really long.
I know, but I'm also like nervous to say no. What if they hit me?
I think at work,
for my own safety.
Work, I think if you're worried about it at your job, you need to quit.
I know.
I think if it's over a minute, they need to send it to you in a text.
Oh, I agree. I thought you meant what if they're trapping you in a social situation.
Them standing beside you and holding their phone. What's the longest?
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Like in person, I would endure it for 3 minutes. If they send me a video.
If they send you a video, they can send me a fucking hour-long documentary, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll definitely watch that, and never will.
Never.
But like, like if you're standing with somebody and they're like waiting for you to react, it's like it's got to be a minute or less. Basically, in my opinion.
That's because you value your time, and I am afraid. I will endure this punishment. Much like I do cinema.
The irony being that my time is almost worthless and your time is a lot more important than mine in the grand scheme of things.
That's not true.
And Megalopolis is you know what we should
Megalopolis is 10,000
as a
times
prank,
of that.
you know what we should do, babe, is we should be like, hey, to our friends, we should just be like, I found this like really cool video I think you'd be into, and then download a digital version of Megalopolis and then send it in like a drive to them and be like, I really think you should check this video, and then it's just the whole entire movie of Megalopolis.
Oh my God. Yes, that is the true test.
But then the thing is, like, next time we're in a group with our friends, we have to very much press them, being like, so what did you think of that video I sent you?
I don't think we'll be allowed back in that group. There's the danger. There's the rub. Oh God. But to your point, this is not the movie made by the guy who did Godfather. This is a movie made by a fucking wine baron.
It's so funny because like we really heavily praise The Godfather 3.
We love it.
Like,
who doesn't?
Let's separate the fact that Coppola made like 4 straight masterpieces in the 70s. Okay,
yes.
This is a long time ago. He's a different director. He's been through a lot of stuff. He's been through debtor's jail, and like he quit filmmaking for 1 decade. Came back, made a couple movies, and quit again for another decade.
Yeah, right.
He's like, he's undeniably one of the most important figures in cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Godfather 3 we really loved, but when I was thinking of Godfather 3 in comparison to this film, because Coppola did say that he incorporated a lot of the thematic ideas into Godfather 3 because he was never sure he was ever going to be able to make Megalopolis. Now, it seems that those thematic ideas have shifted over the previous 34 years since he made Godfather and re-envisioned making Megalopolis, right? Because I don't see a lot of similarities. However, the big difference is that Godfather 3 is, in my opinion, it's a very impeccably controlled film.
Yes.
And this movie seems like chaos.
Well,
Like it's controlled chaos, but it just seems like ideas are shitting out his ears.
That's
and
exactly
they're being
right.
put on screen one after another. And a lot of them I just don't get.
So this movie is exactly what you said. It feels like 40 years of ideas condensed into 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking hurricane of that shit.
Yeah.
It's never like, it doesn't give you pause and let you connect or even admire it in isolation. It's just 40 things happen and you're like, oh, so there is no plot.
And that's the thing is like after 40 years, like you should, what happened to the story here? And frankly, one of the things, like it's like a thesis statement. The plot feels like an afterthought to fit into the idea, which is, it's not to say that that's not possible to make a good film out of that, though I can't think of a great example off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But also, it feels like a movie not born out of a compelling character that Francis Ford Coppola wants to envision, because honestly, there are so many good performers and actors who have had varying careers in this film.
Yeah.
Natalie Emmanuel, Adam Driver, Shia LaBeouf, Lawrence Fishburne, Jon Voight, Dustin Hoffman, Giancarlo Esposito. Like, who am I missing? Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Fucking the chick from that terrible movie, The Front Room. Like, like it's a stacked and incredible cast. None of the characters seem like characters.
No.
None of them seem like real people. Shia LaBeouf is like he looks like a dude who constantly wants to talk to you about ethical and non-monogamy. Like that scene, he's characterized by his terrible hair and costume. And like but none of the characters I don't think exhibit a lot of depth. And that's what really frustrated me was like Adam Driver, it's like he's a brilliant scientist, builder, but it's never clear to me what actually is his talent and skill. He can stop time. I don't know why that's relevant.
Is that supposed to be like an artistic thing?
I have
it's like
no
a metaphor
idea.
for take a pause?
I don't
or
know.
meditate or some shit? Because for some inexplicable reason in this movie, there's a mention of string theory and also freezing time. And also they're in 63 fucking AD or BC or whatever. But also there's shots of HSBC Bank. So I don't know what the fuck we're looking at.
Like they're in the future, but not, or they're in a different imagined future. Well, they're not in the utopia, right? Because Megalopolis is supposed to be. So like the setting is basically they're in a place called New Rome, which is essentially New York. But also there's this thing with this Russian satellite, a Soviet Union satellite. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Is this like in a different type of future in the post or just post-Soviet era or something like that?
Right.
But then there is references to reality. Like there is a actual like documentary-esque footage of, you know, those people going up the escalator with HSC Bank behind them. There's shots of New York on 9/11. There's fucking the Statue of
Hitler
Liberty. There's Hitler. There's Mussolini and all these kinds of things. But what future are we in? It's very confusing to me. And I don't need it to be that way, but it doesn't. It just kind of it hinders a lot of the understanding, in my opinion, of what's happening.
If this movie, and this is, it feels like a dumb point to even bring up, but if it was directed by a nobody, would anyone give a singular fuck about Megalopolis?
No,
because then
it would never get made. It would never get made.
Let's just say it exists, but it's not attached to the fact that it's getting whatever amount of media attention it gets is because, it's the guy who did Godfather. It's Sofia Coppola's dad back at it again.
But to be fair, also, like, he's been fucking yammering on about it for 40 fucking years. Like, and that's not nothing. Like, that's an interesting thing to, you know.
Totally fair. It does feel so much like some art house cinema shit that, like, a first-year kid would have made with like a rich billionaire's son would have made with a bunch of his friends.
But it feels like someone with total creative freedom. And that can work. Like, and I of the very few things I like admire about this movie is like you're at least, I don't know if you're seeing his full vision, but you're at least seeing like I said, it's different than any other film you will see this year.
Oh yeah.
Like I was even struggling to be like, what is this? What would you compare this film to? Like,
Spike Kids 3D.
Like besides Spike, that was obvious though. But like, what other movie is this like? You know, like it has shades of like. I was even thinking just because of Ferrari, but like the Adam Driver thing. He's like, you know what I mean? And
I was thinking of Nicholas Winding Refn.
Well, it had that lighting at one point that was very Winding Refn. Yeah,
but it even had like the detached fever dream effect that a lot of Refn shit has.
Yeah.
The hypersexualization of certain things that we see it in his films.
You know what movie I actually did think of at multiple points was because again, a lot of the dialogue is very play-like. Like it feels like it's based off of a play more.
Yeah,
and I thought a lot about Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of the way that like you're using a real landscape, which is New York City, to portray this fake thing, which is New Rome, the same way that they use Mexico City as Verona Beach, Florida, quote unquote, in that movie.
Totally.
But then also they have these very sets where it's like you can see the proscenium playness of it, where it's like, oh, and this next sequence is they're at a parade and these 7 characters enter on stage and they walk to blah blah blah, and it's like it's very I don't know what to call it, but like regimented in that way. It feels that first long sequence where they're all standing above the replica of the city, that felt like very Shakespearean on purpose, right? And like I don't know, but I don't know how much that worked all the time, because then most of those scenes where they're at the Coliseum, quote unquote, the Madison Square Garden Coliseum, and like Adam Driver is like fucking on LSD and like tripping balls and getting beat up, and then there's the woman singing.
Yep.
There's like aspects and visual parts of that I was like, this is cool. Like the young woman's performance when she's singing on the moon. Yeah. I like that stuff. I was like, that's all cool and stuff. But all the crazy edits of like Adam Driver flailing around, I was like, what is the point of all? This is meaningless. Like it's so silly.
It's because he's doing the drugs and he's being a cool guy, and that's how Coppola imagines it is like to do drugs. Or this is what it's like to drink 40 liters of wine a day. He's hanging out with the grapes. That's that man's life.
He's one with the grape.
An octogenarian baron. Nothing is holding him back, all right? He's living his best fucking life. I mean, holy shit, bravo. You got us in there. It's going to be hard to keep us in there.
Yeah.
In our seats.
But it's hard to get, I saw that the opening weekend was pretty bad, and it's hard to get people to the cinema, frankly. Like it's just such an interesting experiment, and I don't fault anyone for taking part in making this movie at all, certainly not Coppola.
Yeah.
I would rather people get to make those experimental tries.
I'm glad it exists.
Like, you should swing for home runs every once in a while, especially if you're an octogenarian.
But you know what, if this is like the climax of Coppola's career, and if this is like the big thing that he's worked up toward.
Yeah, babe, clearly it's Dracula.
It's Dracula. It's a guy.
I really don't.
But like, if this is the last thing he ever does, let's say, then there's a resounding review from Sean Fennessy,
right,
where it's just summed up as, period.
Yeah.
So, and look, and anyone who disagrees with that kind of, you can go to the club. Like you can do the most Adam Driver-y thing, but that puts a bow on it at the very least. It's like, it could be anything. It could be like, astonishment. It could just be confusion. It could also be, I did not know what to expect. So
as we've talked about, like Coppola had his career derailed at least one major time in his life, right? And that's life. No one in the business of directing cinema bats 1,000, right? But if you think of like if you compare him to someone like Marty Scorsese, who okay, so I think what I heard was that Scorsese's, he had 2 films in possible production and talks to do next after Killers of the Flower Moon. Both those are scrapped now. So he's basically, it's like, what is he going to do next? Like, maybe nothing. Scorsese is quite old too. He's older than Coppola, I think. Think about Ridley Scott, right?
Oh my God.
But Scorsese, a lot of people, whatever you feel about it, I think objectively, Killers of the Flower Moon is like kind of a great film.
Yeah.
Masterpiece, maybe, it might be. In my opinion, also, like, in my opinion, not a lot of people's opinion, but in my opinion, like, The Irishman is a great film. Mm-hmm. Is a, like, hands down one of Scorsese's, like, great films. And it's interesting because, like, he's obviously incredibly talented, but so is Coppola. But also Scorsese just happened to hit these 2 films out of the park. Yeah. And I don't think it has to do with, like, luck, talent, or anything like that, because Coppola is trying to, like, achieve this vision, you know, and sometimes he has failed in the past, just like Scorsese has failed in the past. Yeah. Just like Ridley Scott, in some people's opinions, is currently failing often. Oh, but, like, I would rather see that. Like, I would rather see Ridley Scott do Napoleon than someone else, actually. Like, almost many other filmmakers, I'd rather see Ridley Scott do it. Napoleon was a long-held dream of his, and lots of people didn't like it. They're wrong. But, like, I would rather see that than, I don't know, than something else. I do admire Coppola for doing something like this.
I'm glad this fucking fever dream exists.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching weird shit. Of all of cinema is built on someone outdoing someone else's weird shit,
and also taking risks, right? Like, like everything. The world of Hollywood is like, oh my God, don't take any risks. Just hit fucking base
just
hits.
Make the fucking money.
Hit a sure thing because that's what makes money. That's what props up our studio and stuff until someone comes in and takes a risk, and then everyone is like, oh, we should get in the business of doing fucking rip-off Jordan Peele movies because he just hit a home run with something that no one would have expected, but he took a risk and he makes a different type of movie, right? Exactly. And all of those filmmakers, Scorsese, Scott, Coppola, at different times have done that, right? And they, like, redefined cinema, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's still young, but it's like those 3 have redefined cinema at different times. And, you know, it's good that they get to do that again.
Valid.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, the man fucking earned it. Who the fuck are a bunch of us critics to be like, oh, wow, old guy made a movie that no one understood. Now I have to go watch TikTok. Shut up. Just shut up.
And that's fine. Like, I wouldn't say, like I said, like, I'm not telling you to rush out to the theater and see this.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's worth, if you're, you know, if you want something different, it's worth checking out.
Yeah. Get popcorn, though. Yeah. You got to stay there for a little bit.
But, like, you know, gird your loins a little bit. It's not, like, it's, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in a year, or maybe if Coppola passes away, like, people will reevaluate this movie. Because, like I said, I think there is some greatness trapped within it. I think there's immense creativity at work too, and it doesn't all cohesively work. But, like, there are some things like that. There's that building that they stand on with the clock on the floor.
Yeah,
I thought that stuff was great. I thought it was so cool, and, like, when it's like when they're sitting on those steel beams and stuff. Yeah. I thought that stuff was super interesting.
Like a classic painting or like photo of the construction crew that's sitting on it.
Also, like that opening scene when he's, like, leaning over. I thought that's very great. I thought Driver was good. I thought Lawrence Fishburne was actually one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Oh, excellent point. Because there's one part where they're driving through a dark part of the city. And it's these giant statues that kind of
and they're like
come to life. I don't know what that's meant to portray.
No idea what it means.
It's all very poetic, but it just, like, the statue, like, gets really sad and breaks in half.
Well, one of the statues is, like, Justice. And Justice like drops their sword in the scale and
book.
Like and kind of, like, leans over like they're tired, and it's like okay, I kind of like I see, like, I didn't know what the other 2 statues symbolize, but I was like, that's Justice, because I know as a lawyer practicing in the state of New York. I know what that is.
As an avid watcher of The Good Fight.
Yeah. I've seen The Good Wife.
I've seen The
I
Good
know
Wife.
what justice is.
That's right.
Not for Kalinda, but anyway, like that kind of symbolic stuff is cool. And there's things like that where he is seeing his thoughts depicted on screen, which is a cool thing to do, rather than having like Lawrence Fishburne is like the what's like the word in the Shakespearean way where it's like the narrator of the play, but the person who kind of sets the tone, right?
Yeah.
Fishburne is that throughout the thing, but then Driver also, whether he's on LSD or not, is like seeing these kind of supernatural depictions of what he's feeling. But at the end of the day, like when he creates Megalopolis, I'm like, you just invented a moving sidewalk? Yeah, thanks. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know?
Wait,
like,
what did he do?
I don't know.
What is Megalopolis?
That was one of my disappointments, was they don't go into a lot of detail. Again, about like what they're trying to get at a little bit is like that he is both like an artist and an engineer and a scientist all in one. Yeah. And it all takes these like that symbiosis to create truly new ways of being. He is trying to envision a completely new way of viewing society, right? But he's bound by the strictures of a crumbling society, which is this like new Rome. But they never really get into the why or the how.
It's a bit like Ayn Rand on LSD.
It's like Ayn Rand if Ayn Rand wasn't such a bitch. No, it is.
Oh yeah, if she was a man,
if she was a little more positive. But it is like I read Coppola was like it was like kind of an Ayn Randian type idea,
right?
But also sort of based on Robert Moses if he wasn't like a huge racist, and like who like Robert Moses
models
with his works who like built modern New York and all of these like quote unquote great works that also happen to like displace the poor and the black and the people of color and all these people in New York, because they're like, we need a highway here for the people who can afford cars, things like that, right? But it's like Robert Moses if he was working towards the good instead of the bad, kind of, you know? Yeah, like it's now I say that stuff about, I don't know a lot about him, but like I know a little bit. I've seen Motherless Brooklyn, thank you.
I've seen that once.
I've seen Edward Norton's Megalopolis, which is Motherless Brooklyn. Actually, also I believe the original VisFX person or VisFX or scene something to do with the scenes or whatever from this movie. I don't remember if it was the one who got fired or not. Worked on Motherless Brooklyn. You ever seen that movie?
No, but you've
interminable
hyped it up so much for me in the past that I am afraid to start watching it. Like I've heard nothing but awful things.
It is 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's like
it's a mini Megalopolis.
It's one of those movies that I was like, again, goodness within, but not enough to be 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Yikes!
And also, speaking of, listen again, I won't criticize Edward Norton for taking risks. He definitely is like, he was swinging for the fences with that one it just much like Megalopolis, it didn't quite work, you know.
Yeah,
but they're very similar thematically.
This Coppola joint, I feel it like 100% has the potential to become a cult classic. I feel like people will discover it fucking 15 years from now when we're in a more terrible world to some degree, and it'll be like, let's glimpse back at this movie that had a happy ending, quote unquote.
You know what it reminds me of, which is, I thought of this. I mean, as we live in Vancouver, which is a place with a huge housing crisis, but also like quite frankly, there are also a lot of developments being built in Vancouver that are kind of futury. They can feel a little futuristic.
Yeah.
Speaking of where we went to see this at a place that I've often said is like very interestingly and nicely designed. I won't name drop it, but like it's a complex that is just kind of, it's kind of cool for how modern it is.
Area around the cinemas?
Right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's kind of cool for how modern it is, right? And besides the fact that they don't have the fucking crosswalk in the right place, it's like kind of like this impeccably interestingly designed area, and it's brand fucking new.
Yeah.
And it reminds me though, like Megalopolis reminded me of like, it's like a movie for those like architectural design people who are like, finally someone sees our vision for a beautiful and green future where nothing apparently has handrails and you don't have to walk because you're on a moving side. Like, it reminds me of all those ads you see on the train for like, there's like a huge development going up like in kind of central Vancouver that's been advertised for like a decade, being like, this is going to be the most futuristic fucking place on earth.
Oh, totally.
And it reminds me kind of that. And I wonder if there's like nerds like that who are like, finally I'm seen.
Maybe in his downtime, Coppola is like drinking wine and just got really into Futurama. He was like, I want that Fry and Leela romance.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Maybe.
What? Because this is a fucking political commentary on romance with a little bit of black comedy. And
I think
fucking silly goose.
To its credit, I think it knows it's silly in ways, and like it plays on its silliness. Moments. Like John Voight is very fucking silly, and he knows it in this, and it's kind of great. Aubrey Plaza is like I really liked her in this.
She's great. I mean, she's fucking
like,
great.
But like I like the silliness of it, and I think it helps that it was that silly, because like it's hard when a movie is like, let me blow your nuts off with this idea and takes itself way too seriously, and then you're just kind of like, you didn't blow my balls off anywhere in any way,
in any direction.
So it's good that it's a little bit like goofy.
It would be like, I would be surprised if it was more of a comedy. I'd be like, damn, Copes, Frankie, what you doing with the japes in this one?
Yeah.
It's definitely like 90% serious, 10% comedy.
Do you think, can I just ask though, like if Adam Driver was replaced with like Pete Holmes, do you think it would be better? Like, yeah.
This is like Pete Holmes' laugh.
kind of a tall, goofy white guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. He's also like, fuck, man. If there's ever like a time where there's a Pete Holmes biopic, I hope Adam Driver plays it. He would do such a good job. They should just
remake Crashing.
Yes.
That is a Pete Holmes biopic, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are fucking twins, look, in a manner of
speaking. You could convince me they were brothers.
In a manner.
I don't know. I like the silly bits of it. It was like fun enough in that regard. And
I love how like fucking wackadoodle, like he's not by any means clinging to plot or a direction or momentum in any way. It's just like there's a loose thing
or coherence. Yes,
this is how it's going to start and kind of end, and so two things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. But everything that leads up to it or happens within it is just an experience. It's like being in an amusement park with like 5D glasses on.
And the issue is like I said, it's like built around an idea.
Yeah, several ideas.
And but those ideas are never very well articulated. And I think that is actually the biggest failure of the film, is that you're like, all right, if you're gonna forego plot and you're gonna forego character and you're gonna forego kind of like quippy dialogue in some way, what are you bringing us? Cool visuals. They got that. They got good. I thought the CGI was interesting. I thought there was like some good acting and things like that, good performances. But if you're just going to be about this fucking idea, tell us what the fucking idea is. Like, get to the fucking point, and like, let's dig into it.
I have a question for you.
I have the answer. I'm the opposite of Coppola. I have the answer for you.
Put yourself in the shoes of a parent, let's say. A mother.
I would never do that.
Okay. Just humor me.
Okay.
Megalopolis son or Babylon daughter?
What do you mean?
Who would you rather have as a child to raise? If your son were the concept of Megalopolis, or if your daughter is just the movie Babylon? They're both crazy.
Is my daughter like a DVD of Babylon, or is she
you know
like
what
a
I mean?
person?
Like she embodies, like she's all the fucking.
Well, which part of Babylon? There's some good people
of her,
in it.
like the main fucking. The elephant.
Oh,
and
Megalopolis
everything.
son, because then he'd at least be like really smart.
Yeah, but then.
And I'd be like, you confuse me.
You'd have to. He'd have to like talk to you and shit, man. You would have to talk to.
And I'd be like,
Adam
you're a fucking
Driver.
nerd.
You would bully your son. You're like,
You'd be like, hey, Dad, what about this building? I'd be like, why don't you fucking build it or shut up, idiot? Yeah.
Yeah, that track.
Yeah, Megalopolis son. Yeah.
Good.
You have a top 5, right? You're gonna bring it back today? Special
I have a top 5 of things that can only be found in Megalopolis. This is top 5 Megalopolis.
Megalopolians.
Number 5, the ability to call it Megalopenis.
The megalopenis.
This is a top 5, highbrow top 5.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Go on.
Number 4, best name for a TV anchor. Aubrey Plaza is called Wow Platinum.
Wow Platinum. Yeah.
Which it's like, you see what I mean with the goofiness?
That is very funny.
But no one else is called goofy like that in the movie. But in this one,
everyone else is called Roman names.
Francis, fucking
And
Adam
Chode
Driver's called
and-
Fran.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is
Claudius.
Claudius, and then Claudius, and
They're all like, they're all
Yeah.
Caesars and whatnot. But yeah, Wow Platinum.
Wow Platinum. Yeah. Roman as fuck.
Hell yeah. Number 3, Shia LaBeouf is himself. Shia LaBeouf
Pretty
is
much, yes.
100% neck deep in Shia LaBeouf at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah.
Oh, yikes. Get it, buddy.
Yeah.
Classic.
Thank you, Auntie Wow.
Thank you, Auntie Wow.
That scene between him and Aubrey Plaza, it's like
Yeah.
too much there's too much acting.
What are you talking about? I
Too
got
much
10 more
acting.
minutes of that. That's fucking great. Make that my megalopenis. All right. Number 2. Boner of the Year by John Voight.
That was very funny. Check out this boner.
Look at my huge John Voight, played by Joe Biden. Classic. Just fucking nothing but just bang.
When knock on wood, but like in November when they have the American election, and if Kamala wins, that will be Joe Biden in his bed. He'll be like, "Hey Jill,
check out this
boner I have." And she'll be like, "Joe, you were a great service to this country.
You did it,
Thank
Joe.
you. And as a service to this country, I will tend to your boner."
I'll put him down. Put him down.
And then he'll shoot her with a little bow and arrow. No. Out of his dick. Go on.
And the number 1 ability to say, Francis made a couple of mistakes with this one.
Oh boy. Well, that's not the only movie he's made a couple of mistakes on.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But this is the one that I
And
can
none
say
of them
now.
are in Dracula, and I won't hear any slander.
No
about
slander.
it.
None whatsoever.
People may criticize Keanu Reeves. I think he's great.
Oh, fuck yeah. He's one of the best parts of it.
I think Gary Oldman is giving a normal performance.
Gary Oldman is doing his Shia LaBeouf best.
I think Gary Oldman's costuming is normal in that film.
Is it the one where he calls himself Dracul instead of Dracula? He says it weird,
it's the one. It's the one where in the garden he like stalks that lady as the wolf, and then when she kind of comes around the corner, it's all like windy and raining, and you see the wolf and he's blood on his teeth, and he's like, "Hey, check out this boner I have." That's the movie you're thinking of. Yeah.
Please, Mr. Voight, Oldman. Frankenmesh. I hate it.
Oh boy.
Oh, Megalopolis.
Good top 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It was a fun movie. But
you know what?
Importantly, we saw trailers to good movies. That was the high point. Blitz.
Oh, fuck yeah, Blitz.
Blitz looks sick.
The one with all the popes.
The conclave. Yeah. That looks way better than I thought it was gonna look.
Yeah. Voldemort making a comeback in the Vatican.
As usual.
We'd love to see it.
And frankly, where was the Vatican during Voldemort's reign? That's a question I've always had.
That's true. Maybe it was in Italy where Stanley Tucci was hiding.
Yeah. But more importantly, Venom.
Venom 3.
Venom.
Y'all, don't worry. We're going to cover it. Don't worry about it.
We've committed to covering it. The next 2 will be Venoms.
Yeah.
And that's just what you have to put up with.
It done been Venom.
No. The next after this one, I'm going to put it before the Venoms.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else about Megalopolis?
Just that if we have company, we will put this on TV.
Yeah.
And we will force it on
and
them.
lock the doors.
Yeah.
One last question.
Yes.
Do you think Francis Ford Coppola will make another movie, and what do you think will happen now that he's finally done the movie he always dreamed of doing?
I don't think he'll make another movie.
No.
I think he is pleased to have met his realize this dream that's been going on for decades and decades, and he might even find it comforting that the people don't get it, because any good genius would hate it if 100% of people were like, oh my God, this is great. And they'd be like, oh, the idiot masses love it.
Yeah, like if people like,
Yeah.
what if it was
If
like
it was super
what
hyped
what if Coppola made it and like most people, like a bunch of people didn't like it, but like
Exactly.
like Gen Z got really into it because they were
Yeah,
just like
becomes
Adam
like a cult
Driver is
classic.
goals or some
Yes.
shit like you know what Gen Z people say.
You know.
They say things like goals and couple goals and things like
Sorry,
that.
WoW Platinum
Yeah.
is skibbity toilet. Fucking, I don't know.
Get the fuck out of here, Jesus. Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah.
But he would hate that, yes.
John Voight, though, Rizzler machine. With his
Yeah. Is it just me or is John Voight just kind of sexy with his huge boner in this movie?
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't think he will.
I wonder if he'll like I'd be really curious to be like if he funds his own film, what he does next.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's gonna spend 120 mil. I'm just saying, Francis, if you just spend 10 milli or whatever,
Yeah.
give an extra mil to me. Like I need it. And
Put her there, pal.
you have a lot of it. And no one else is giving me money, so you could just give it to me. That's my pitch.
Give it to the other John.
And then I will be happy to watch your $10 million movie
Fair
with
enough.
$1 million in my pocket.
That's true.
Cold hard cash.
We're getting tired of all these scratchy lottery cards.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's taken too much of our arm strength to do it. So just send us the cool mill
Yeah.
and we Gucci.
Yeah. Thank you, Francis.
Rizzler out.
Thank you for listening.
I'm free.
Cha.
It's been the low ceiling.
Oh man, has it?
Megalopenis.
And mega cockadicks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.